Let's get to this main event. It is a big one. It is a big one on both sides. Rob Font taking on Jose Aldo. Aldo, man, he's still around doing this. I mean, I remember when he came to Vegas and as a 23-year-old to fight Mike Brown for the WEC championship in 2009, and he was crying because he could see his face on a billboard for the first time. In 2009, Rob Font was delivering pizzas and trying to pay for community college. The entirety of Rob Font's career has played out over the course of the time in which Jose Aldo has been fighting the absolute best of the best at 145 and 135 that entire time. That's just crazy to think about the difference in where these guys have been over the last decade. But here it is, Rob Font, the biggest fight of his career, looking to take that jump into title contention against Aldo, who still wants to get back into the title picture, man. And as much as we kind of think like, man, your prime is behind you, is it? Is it? This guy is still competing at a very high level. Jose Aldo plus 120, Font minus 140. Talk to me about this fight, Ian.
Jose Aldo, clearly something in the water wherever he lives. I mean, he's the oldest, youngest fighter, I think, in the history of MMA. He's been fighting forever. And what's interesting is that, we all thought that he would bump up to 155 because the weight cuts at 45 were starting to get to him. But then he drops down in weight. He's looked pretty good in his last fight against Pedro Munoz. Not a lot of people really thought he was going to win that fight. He surprised everyone. His kicks, he was starting to go back to the old Jose Aldo ways, those devastating calf kicks, and then the striking, the shots to the body. However, in this fight, the only way that he beats Rob Font, where Rob Font tends to struggle, is against guys that pressure. And Aldo is just not that guy. Now, also, as you see, if Aldo can get the fight to the floor, Font's not really known as a jiu-jitsu guy off his back. There will be no threat submission-wise. He can stand back up, but that will steal points. That will get rounds. Between the two of them, I just feel like the better overall technical boxer is going to be Rob Font. I also think that in his last fight against Cody Garbrandt, we saw a pace that not many guys will be able to keep up with. And I think for Jose Aldo, that's going to be a problem as well. I think that Font is getting Aldo name recognition-wise an opponent at the absolute perfect time, with Aldo coming off a win against a high-ranked opponent. But for me, this is Rob Font. If he can keep the fight on the standing and he can dictate the pace, throw his combinations, and just avoid the body shots and the calf kicks of Aldo, I think Rob Font gets this done, and he's next in line for a title shot with a really big win here.
Yeah, it's super interesting, man, because if you look at Aldo's career, he has only lost to current or former UFC champions, with the exception of Marlon Moraes, and a lot of people thought he won that fight. So if you're beating Jose Aldo, right, you are the cream of the crop. You are the absolute best. But one thing that, one other part that I mean, it was a great breakdown. I agree with you. Font is the rightful favorite here. I also think 5 rounds kind of hurts Jose Aldo, which is crazy to think because he's got so much experience in 5-round fights. But I think at this point in his career, especially against a guy who's very active in Rob Font, is going to set that high pace. I do think that the extra 2 rounds, if we get there, will favor Rob Font.
Thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.